Let's go to Walker Kessler because you talked about Utah a lot there. If I'd have known you were talking about Utah, I'd switch topics so I could have segued beautifully into Walker Kessler here. But
I'm just out here to ruin things and make it harder on you.
that's the way it goes, man. I mean, it's hard out here being a host. Let me tell you. Walker Kessler has been flat out unbelievable this year. He is just straight up a starting center in the NBA. He's probably a top half starting center in the NBA already. I am blown away by him. I'll start with this. I really liked Walker Kessler as a drop defender coming into last year's draft. I thought he had great instincts. I thought he was obviously an incredible rim protector. I noted in my scouting report, like ambidextrous shot blocker, really can contest with both hands, great in the cat and mouse game. I don't think I've ever seen a rookie that is better in the cat and mouse game of like drop coverage in ball screens for bigs than Walker Kessler is. Can you remember anybody that was this good?
I mean, Evan Mobley.
At it? No, not even close. I don't think because Mobley's not as good of a rim protector.
Ooh, I would disagree. I think Mobley's a better defender. Without question.
In total,
I
agree with you.
Like not a better like center rim protector, but in terms of his rim protection skills, I would consider Mobley better.
No, it's just because out of drop coverage, particularly.
No, just in general, I think his rim protection skills are better.
Yeah, I'm talking specifically about like drop coverage.
As a straight up drop at the 5. Yeah. Okay, my bad. Yeah, I misinterpreted that. Yeah. I have so many positive things to say, man. I wasn't as bad as I think some people were with Walker. I think I underrated what he could potentially be a little bit, mainly because of the offense. Like I didn't think about what has really helped Walker for me is how simple their offense is, and it fits what he does. Like roll really hard, because I just want to talk about the offense first because that has been really important for him being on the court. Like he's in his 10 games that he's started back to back and so on. That first of all, they're 7-3 and they've played a pretty solid schedule. He's averaging 12 points, 11 boards, 5 of them offensive. They have empowered him. They're like, go crash the glass, be extremely aggressive on the glass, roam in the dunker spot, roll really hard, set solid screens. I don't think he's a very good screener yet. I think obviously it's going to come with time. Like he doesn't have a super strong base yet, but like he's a rookie. I don't expect that to be good.
I will note one thing with his screening. I think he's really, really good already though at timing, like when to flip screens and when to like just change the angle for ball handlers to be able to get that little bit of separation. You're definitely right in terms of the base though, and like making contact, but he's good at like making himself an impediment and using his footwork to do that.
Yeah. And part of what helps too is like how much motion there is in their offense makes it not matter as much. Like it makes it easier for him to get into his roles, easier for him to get the most out of his gravity, get the most out of all of their movement shooting and just stuff in general. So that's been really huge for him because my biggest thing with him was, and also I got to say, like, I don't think that it is perfect by any stretch yet, but like he legitimately has been better at short roll in this offense than he was at Auburn. And I think, again, part of it is the offense he's in because Auburn's offense was yeesh sometimes last year. It's different playing with Mike Conley than playing with, some other guys. But
you mean Katie Johnson and Wendell Green weren't always hitting that pocket pass the short roll?
I love watching those guys play. But yeah, it's a little different playing with Mike Conley. That's part of what's been really fun. Like having a veteran like that who can set the table and just be steady is so huge. But then, so I've been impressed with that. I've liked that. I think that the touch around the rim is obviously very nice, but it's mostly like him dunking everything because he's massive and is really well coordinated. So that's been fun. But the defense, I just need to riff on the defense. I expected him to struggle a lot with foul trouble this year because of how aggressive he is in trying to hunt blocks. And I do wonder if that's going to come back to bite him eventually this year. Hasn't yet. He jumps at everything, but he's been so good with verticality and not jumping into people, but just jumping straight up. And it's been just a joy to watch. In terms of verticality, other than Evan, I can't think of guys who have brought
But
that level of vertical. And again, like you mentioned, playing as the solo rim protector at the 5, like it's different for sure.
yeah, here's the difference between Walker and Evan is a rim protector particularly, and why I think Walker is a better rim protector. It's because of his strength through his chest and core. Like you can kind of like put your shoulder. Yeah, like you can put your shoulder into Evan and open up some space. You cannot do that against Walker Kessler. He is so like wide and thick while also being like skinny. Like he has that like Brooke Lopez-y frame that just does not allow guys to go through his chest. Like when guys try to bump his chest, he doesn't like bend, right? He just stays straight up because he's so strong through that area of his body. He is, I think he's like pretty substantially purely as a rim protector. I think Evan is so much more versatile. He's so much better as an overall help defender. Obviously, he can go out and switch on guys. Like, and I think he is good in like the cat and mouse game and ball screens. Like, Evan is a much more complete defender than Walker. Walker Kessler is I think he's a much better rim protector than Evan Mobley is, just because of the strength and because I think he's just like bigger and longer than Evan, frankly. Like, I don't know if the numbers say that, but when you, or like, I don't know if like the measurements say that, but when you watch Walker, like with how wide his shoulders are compared to Evan and how like long and like strong he is through his core, I think he's bigger and a stronger impediment at the rim than Evan is.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think the physicality, like you mentioned, has been really important because not that I thought he was necessarily bad at it, but like I think last year he could really struggle with stronger posts. And this year, like I think he still has had some issues guarding. Like Jokic absolutely ate him alive when they played. That's gonna happen to anybody. So I just want to say too, whenever I hear an argument brought up in draft discourse, like, well, can he defend Joel Embiid or Nikola Jokic? I'm like, well, nobody fucking can. So why are we using that as a benchmark? Sorry for dropping the hard F, but like I just like it's ridiculous to me sometimes. Like you got to have some foresight there. But like you mentioned, he's been so good at not getting bumped off and just being able to stay solid around the rim. Like he's owned the restricted area, which has been extremely fun to watch.
Yeah, no, I mean, here's the other thing too that's really fun about the Walker Kessler experience. Utah is starting to get creative with what they do around him. Like they started a couple nights ago against Dallas, a Walker Kessler, Lauri Markkanen, Kelly Olynyk lineup that was super, super fun. And like they played those guys minutes and it was really,
kind of
like,
wild. That was fun,
weird,
though. It was
but also
lineup.
really effective. Like it was effective. Like like I looked up the numbers because they've done this like a few times throughout the year. The numbers on that lineup are actually like very strong. It's like I'm literally pulling them up right now as we talk. They've played that lineup more than I thought they would have. Like they've played them 126 minutes this year. That lineup has a plus 14 net rating when they do it. And it's all because of like the defense just is completely insane. Like they give up 109 points per 100 possessions.
There's just so much size. Like,
yeah.
I mean,
but there's also shooting. Like like Lowry can score from the mid post. They both can shoot threes. Walker is like an unbelievable roller. They average 123 points per 100 possessions in those lineups. Like they're killer. I don't. It's a wild lineup. I love watching Utah play.
Yeah, part of what has been really fun too is like you mentioned. I think obviously like we just mentioned Walker. I think Lowry still has been like I think he's been good defensively this year. A lot of it has just been like their guards are so rough defensively. Like I tweeted about this yesterday and not to get derailed, but like anytime I see this team should trade for Malik Beasley, I'm like I can't just because of what's going to happen defensively. So yeah, that's just some of the issues that they have. But like you mentioned, just having those three guys together and being big and in the right places and in the way has been big. And like since Walker has been put in the starting lineup, so January 10th, in that time span and that 10 game stretch, Jazz are 17th in defensive efficiency. So right around average. It doesn't seem like a lot, but considering they've been around 30th for most of the year, that means something. Like he's really been an impact. It's not just getting blocks. It's been very, very impactful. He's had 2 7-block games in that in that stretch, which has been,
Yeah.
I mean, just kind of wild. It's been very fun to watch.
Okay, so here's the fun question. I kind of wrote about this for tomorrow. I'll give people a preview. Are we 100% sure he's not the rookie of the year?
Yes, I'm 100% sure. Like, I'm not trying to be unfair. I think I would have him second. I think he's been better than Benedict Mathurin this year, for being honest. I can't get there over Paolo. Like, what Paolo is doing as a rookie has meant a lot more to me, just in terms of what he's doing right now, load wise, what he's being asked to do, and what it means for the future. But I can get there with Walker at number 2.
If you look at any of the advanced numbers, Kessler is it's like literally all of them.
Okay, but
Say
also
it's
he's on a
Kessler.
way better team than Orlando, so the advanced numbers are gonna be better.
And the role is much different, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Look, I agree with you. I would have Paulo as the rookie of the year. There are like 5 guys in the last 50 years that have averaged 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 3.5 assists per
yeah.
game as rookies. Paulo's one of them. His role is much larger, and his role is now like he is one of the top 2 guys, along with Franz Wagner, on a team that like is now winning games over the course of this last third of the season. Right, they're 15-13 over this last little 28 game stretch. So that's like Paulo is a big part of that.
Mm-hmm.
His ability to make passing reads, his ability to be a primary scoring threat as a shot creator. It's Paulo. I'm just saying that if someone votes for Walker Kessler for rookie of the year at
No,
the
I
end of the
can't.
year,
I'll be very annoyed if somebody votes for Walker
I
Kessler.
will not clown that. I
I
will not clown that.
See, this is my issue though, and this is not me going at you. This is just in general. Sometimes I think we think way too hard about shit and make it much more nuanced than it needs to be. You cannot look at what Paolo is doing and say that Walker Kessler has been better than him. Like, that's crazy to me. And that's not me trying to discount him, but it's like at some point, as much as I appreciate use and understand advanced statistics, you have to look at what's actually happening on court. Like, and that's not saying that Walker doesn't do stuff on court, but like it's just different. Like, no, I can't.
Well, here's the big reason why I think it's Paulo. The offensive side of the court is just much more important in today's NBA than the defensive side of the court. It just is. Good offense beats good defense in today's NBA. And Paulo has been the drastically better offensive player. Kessler, like if we're talking about like Paulo's offense, Paulo's defense, Kessler's offense, Kessler's defense, right? Like as like the 4 disparate pieces of their game, Kessler's defense has been the best like of those 4 things, right? Like Walker Kessler's been unbelievable. Like Walker Kessler, I think has a case as being like a top 25 defender in the NBA this season. He's been incredible, but offense is just way more important in today's NBA. It just is. It's the reality of the situation. There's a reason scoring is up. There's a reason that offensive efficiency is like through the roof, basically. It just is, right? I have to go Paulo as rookie of the year. If they were still losing, if this Orlando team was like, 12-42 or whatever that would be, then I think it would be a real conversation. Mm-hmm. But right now that they're winning, now that it's a situation where Orlando is actually like pretty good, I do think it's Paulo. Like, I think it is like certainly Paulo right now. Mm-hmm. I just want to be clear about that. I'm just asking, is there a case for
no?
It? I'm just raising.
I'm here to say no. So any angry Jazz fans, please at me at MG_Schindler on Twitter. I probably will respond. So yeah.
Yeah, but Walker's been unbelievable. I agree with you. He's the second best rookie so far this year.